Hello, everyone, and welcome. I think I have. Let's see. Can you hear me, Mr. Keith?
Definitely. Yes, I
Awesome. I
do.
hear you as well. Well, thank you so much for participating and coming. My name is Darcia Houston. Here we are with Dallas Ag Women. All people farm and garden, not just women, but this is a movement to help women become more efficient and sustainable in any type of growing for their situation. Now, I have an expert that we met here recently. Tony and I, do general contracting and a lot of other things. And we just so happened to meet Mr. Keith at the gas station. And with that, we've been able to build this relationship and bartership, and there's a other host of other things to come. But one thing that I thought when I went into his space, as we were dropping off a trailer, he had a growing situation that was so simplistic. It was so comprehensible. I mean, I'm not saying that it was easy to put together all the years of doing what he does. That's easy. But what I'm saying from the standpoint of what you need to know and how you need to grow or think about growing indoors, I have to introduce you to Mr. Keith. Please introduce your first and last name as well.
All right. Hello, my name is Keith Brooks, and let me focus this thing here. I was trying not to get that glare behind me, but there's a tree. All right, let's try this. But yeah, I am a grower, and I've grown for more than 20 years. My grandmother had a garden, and I helped her with, and I lived with her. So I've loved growing a long time. And even then, when I lived at home, I practiced growing, on my own too. I've grown outdoors, but one thing you'll find about growing in Texas is that it's very difficult. It is because it has a long dry period. Texas does that June, July. If those don't kill your plants, I promise you, August will. August is probably going to kill your plants. Unless you're in a position where you can water and take care of them morning and evening. I mean, like those 100-degree days outside in one day, just missing one day could kill your plants. And so I did that for 10 years. And the years you would have good plants would be the years that you got a lot of rain. 99 was a great year outdoors. About 205 was a good, and then like 2011 was a good because I got a lot of rain. If you notice, that's almost like a cycle. Every 6 or 7 years, you'll get a very rainy year. But that's just the opposite. Every 6 or 7 years, you're gonna get a very dry year. It'll stop raining around here in March or April and not rain again almost. And so anyway, that's one problem, but theft from the outside is a problem. People will steal your product, or you steal your vegetables, and it takes a long time for them to mature outside. So you got like about a month or two where it looks good and edible, but it still needs to be protected until it finishes. So that drove me inside, right? And so today I was invited to talk about lights. Well, the first thing and most often repeated would be that you will get what you pay for in lights. If you buy a cheap light, then you'll end up with cheap products. And not to say that lights don't work. You can grow with a 100-watt bulb. You really can, and you probably get one plant, and then the vegetables on it will be small, but it can be done, if you manipulate your light. Yes. So when I started, my first light I bought was T5
Y'all
fluorescent light.
taking notes, T5.
Yeah, a T5 light. Now they make them with two bulbs, which gives you about 10,000 watts, right? Or 10,000 amps, not amps, watts almost, right? Two bulbs, but they make them with four bulbs, the same light, which gives you twice of what that two light bulb will do. Well, my first one was an 8 bulb light. So that's 5,000-watt bulbs. That's one light that can put out 40,000 watts. Now, remember what I just said. You can grow with a 100-watt bulb. But the difference in what a 100-watt bulb and a 40-watt bulb will do is a big difference. I would recommend T5 as the lowest end of a, if you want to be serious about growing,
Okay,
you want
what'd you say?
to,
What'd you call it? What did you call it? I didn't understand.
the name of the bulbs are T5.
Okay, that's what.
Fluorescent lights, those round fluorescent lights like you got in the closet, like they have at school.
Okay.
Those round fluorescent long tubes, the big ones, those are like T8s or T12s. They make a real skinny fluorescent light about as big as your finger. It's called a T5. They sell
Okay.
them at home. I buy my light bulbs for my T5 at home. Well,
Okay.
in the growing process, you need a light that's not very powerful in the beginning to get your plants started, to grow your plants. And so T5s are perfect for that. That because you can cut it. Mine, you can cut it off and on. You can cut on 4 lights, 4 bulbs while they're young, and then when they get your time to veg them, you cut on the other 4. But again, that's a
So
40 watt.
as the plants are maturing, we're adding on more wattage.
That's the plan. Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah. By the time you go into the flowering stage, you want to put quite a bit of power there.
Are we talking
So
to our 420 families? We talking about weed? We talking about cannabis here?
yeah, yes. I don't grow anything else.
Awesome. Okay. Yes. So everybody hits me up and they're like, hey, and I know if I haven't talked to this person or if they're not in agriculture, I know they're getting ready to ask me about cannabis. Like,
Mhm.
and that's what the youth are trying to farm now. But it's more than the youth now because we know that it has been healing tumors and cancers and the hemp and the cannabis, it the whole cannabis being the whole, but there's different parts of these plants that do different things. And it's such a great crop to grow, especially if you could save money any way, shape, or form. So if you're using all this CBD oil or THC cream, you might need to be growing so you can have your own medicine. But on another note, how much money could I save if I was a smoker? You're
About
frozen.
1/4 of what you would save if you got a.
Oh, you're muted. We
I
can't
am.
hear you. Yeah. Okay. So I said, how much money would I save if I was a smoker?
I'm saying that if you stop me at the T5 light, you will
Uh-huh.
save about 1/4 of what you would save if you let me tell you about these next lights. That
Yes,
light
please.
there will grow you 2 plants and they would be good and they will be okay. But the end product will probably be, as big as a quarter, you know, big as your thumb, maybe, right? Well, if the next light that they sell is that purple, it's called Burple because it's blue and red. It's a fluorescent light. With the age of fluorescent, it's just they were able to put a lot of power into it, right? So well, no, a Burple light. They sell trimmed down versions now at even Home Depot. You can go
Okay.
get a 5 watt Burple light that'll do. But I would recommend that you start something that they may call it on the package 2,000 watts, but it's really about whereas my T5 light was 40 watts, you want one twice as strong as that. Maybe 125 watts. And then that's about a 1,000, on the box they call that a 1,000 watt light, right? Well, my next light I bought was a 2,000 watt light. And it was blue and red. It's called a Burple light. And that thing did amazing. Oh man, you'd have, what they really call donkey extremities when you grow that with that light. It's only, you ever heard that term? Growers
No.
call, yeah, they call it a donkey. The deed of the extremity, all right. And then I mean, you get colas sometimes it's almost as big as your arm, but now those lights are limited in space, right? You won't be able to find a big one. So if you buy this Burple light, it's going to be amazing for 2 plants, maybe 3. But if you want to grow 6 or 8 plants, you're going to have to get about, 3 of these lights. They cost,
Oh,
now the T5 light will cost you $150 at the most. You can buy a used T5 for under $100. But again, you get what you pay for. The purple lights, we found one online for $200. I bought mine for about $269. And that's an amazing light. But listen, just recently, within the last few years, this industry has discovered the use of very powerful white lights. And man, these white lights can cover a much bigger area and get the same, if not better results than the purple lights. So my next light, my next two lights were white lights, fluorescent lights, white. That's just to find a purple light or a T5, you're gonna have to look. If you look online for the most common light being sold now, they're able to put a lot of power into those lights. So, and the thing with them, one light will be enough for 4 to 6 plants, right? Well, what I did, I bought a bigger one. And so I'm thinking, well, maybe if I just, but if you find, if you want a bigger light, just do bigger plants because you can put too much light on plants, right? There you go. Now, if you get you a white light, it might cost you, the last one I bought was about $500. The little one I bought was about $300. Now back up, you can get a purple light, the blue and red, the purple in the 200s. You really can. Back up, you can get a fluorescent light in the 100s. But now I'm gonna tell you this, you can go to Home Depot and spend $50 and get a light that's equivalent to a 100 watt bulb. You know, it can be purple. It might be purple, it might be white. And they'll tell you, we sell a grow light, and they really do. But remember, you're gonna get what you pay for. It's not possible to buy a cheap light and get, you know, unless you buy a used, rebuilt,
right?
You know, yeah. So anyway, that's it.
So you sound like a light connoisseur.
yeah, I've gotten to where I am. But listen, right now I'm completely satisfied with my lighting. I do. In fact, I've got too much light. I need to add. You know, if you saw, I need to add more plants.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
I do. I've got enough power now for some plants. But again, my recommendation is this: I grow for personal use. I give away some, smoke the rest. I don't sell at all. I do it for the love of the game and the industry. And if you do it for that reason, you know, you don't mind investing some money. You know, it's like a hobby, any other hobby. You're gonna have to put some money into it. You know, if you're gonna be a skier, you'll buy you some skis and a bag and a jet. If you're gonna be a golfer, you're gonna buy. If you're gonna be a grower, buy you some good lights.
That is great.
Now listen, more important is how to use them. You need to understand the light cycle. It's 18 to 24 hours when they're growing, but for them to veg, it's the same as tomatoes. You got to go to 12 on and 12 off. And that's the only thing. 12 on, 12 off. Now, some people debate whether, you should use it for 18 hours or 24. My lights are so powerful that I go with the 18 hours now. But when I had my fluorescent light, I'd leave it on 24 hours trying to get them to grow bigger.
Right. But then when you went up to what, the blurple?
Then I think blurple I feel, no, until I got to those white lights where I actually have too much light. Yeah, those lights are very, very powerful. No, the purple light, I probably still let it, because see, the purple light, if you put it on blue, that's for is when it's vegging, right? And then when you're ready for it to flower, you cut the red on and get the purple light. And if you want to see an often criticized light, go online right now and look up that purple light. It does work, but it's very, you know, it's widely critical. You know, you used to look at your plants and you thought you had some purple plants or some green. You said, wow, and then you cut them off and they don't look the same. Whereas now, using white lights, what you see is what you got.
There you go. So that's a great piece of advice. So as you go up, the more you'll be able to do. But what is there any type of ventilation, or because I want you all to visualize, you know, I don't want to say a closet, but you know, like a storage shed, just a small 8x10 storage shed, and there is obviously a perfect and growing environment that he has going on because his plants are thriving. In addition to, he's got his own drying method right there. It's not something, once again, it's this hobby money, you know, it's not something that he is having to go out and get with investors, you know what I'm saying, to do, when ultimately the end goal is to take care of yourself first. So if you can start off with you, healing you with the products you grow, then it's more beneficial and it means a lot more versus like I'm just gonna be out here in this dope game or I'm just gonna grow these pounds, you know. It's a different type of thing, and you have to be willing to educate yourself. And it looks like Mr. Keith has been educating himself like the whole time.
But watch this. You're hitting on my biggest point right now at my age, and it's up there a little bit, and dealing with arthritis, backaches, and then I've run a construction company a long time, so that anger management stuff, and I've been in business a long time, so that bipolar disorder that comes from all that. Let me tell you what type of medication I take. I grow it. I don't take no opium-based nothing. I don't take nothing. Listen, if my back hurt, come on, I smoke. If my hands hurt, my arthritis, I think it cures arthritis. I really do. My hands, I'm just telling you, and especially mood swings. Have you ever had a mood swing that could not be corrected? Come on, listen, they could tell you,
person or whatever.
You wrecked the car. Oh God, you wrecked the car. Give me a blunt. Yeah. Who died? Who died? Listen, who died? Oh, I'm sad. Give me a blunt. I got fired, but I got a blunt in the car. All right, you know what I mean? I had a wreck, my fault, but I still got a blunt in the car. It's gonna be all right. If you got a blunt in the car, I'm just gonna tell you. For me, anyway, it's gonna be all right. I come home, can't hardly move, hands hurt, Brian. All right, I don't even have to take Advil, Tylenol.
Right. And one thing is so interesting with the Advil and stuff, and why you're hitting on a phenomenal point, because I don't take those things either. But your homegirl had a toothache like nobody's business one day. Yo, I had to go in, right? So I'm taking everything. I'm taking ibuprofen, Tylenol.
Me too. Oh, I've been there too. You're right.
So with that said, I felt like, okay, after I got everything corrected and I started, doing my thing and my swelling, everything went down. All of this is good. I still had all of this Advil and BC powder and all of these things in my system. And the reason I knew that was because I'm a very iron deficient, low iron individual. Also with, sickle cell. So there is a whole cold nature that is just in my spirit and bones. Like, I'm always cold regardless, and love the heat so much that I can withstand like 180 degrees, in a sauna, like without a problem. So I say all that to say this. I started getting hot flashes. So I thought I was like going into early menopause. But a lot of times we're going through things and we're taking medicines such as this over-the-counter, stuff. And this is causing heat flashes and a lot of other things because you're taking these things for something, right? I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm just, theorizing for Darcia and personal for health. But I would rather have to grow something and the ancestors like to be burn stuff too, for us to burn stuff and all of this. I really, really appreciate natural medicine because it took about 3 months for all of those things to get out of my body. And when it did, I knew it. I knew when all of these things were in me. And when all of that got out, I mean, it was a process of enemas and laxatives and diet changes and fasting. I did a whole host of things. And if I could have just, had a strong enough weed, I would have done that versus any other medicine.
Yes. Well, yes, God made medicine. So
you're kind of frozen for us. Say it again.
So I think medicine is good also. I with that toothache, you right. I took some Advil. I can say what I want, but the blunt didn't help that day.
Not at all. But just the point being that there's a lot of things we don't have to do that for. Like, just taking stuff to be, I got a headache. Well, why don't we figure out why we have the headache? Like, are we hungry? Are we deficient in nutrients? Am I pissed off? Do I need to be here? Am I under artificial lights? Are these lights that are over me too much? Have you been outside today? So there's a whole host of things you can ask yourself on why to get to the root of the problem.
Yes.
But ultimately, do you have any other things that you would like to share with our audience regarding growing, regarding your experiences, or just some advice?
Here is a phenomenal fact that you better catch. If you like what you grow, I mean, if you like what you smoke, then you'll like what you grow if you use your own seeds. If you
Mhm.
try to, but that's always a chance taken. It's worth investing the money and buying feminized seeds. Seeds,
Okay.
because otherwise, when you look at a seed, don't let nobody tell you you can tell a boy seed from a girl. You can't. You just can't. It's a chance you take when you plant them. And then I found that it's sometimes 50-50. I've planted 10 seeds that I got from, a dealer that had, man, 10 seeds in a pound, or whatever. But it's about a 50-50 chime. Once I got like 8 seeds, female, 2 male. One time I got like about 8 seeds male and 2 female, which I mean I had 10 plants I've been taking care of. And by the time they got up size, I realized 8 of them are boys. And you got to kill it. If you got a boy plant, he die the same day. He do, and you really want to kill him and throw him out in the backyard. You don't want a
Sounds
male
so
plant.
brutal. Why?
Oh yeah, because he'll mess your whole plant up. Your pretty seeds, pretty buds will have seeds. So I
Oh,
do suggest, Robert Bergman. I love growing marijuana. ILGM sells great seeds. Crop King also sells great seeds. And listen, they are very good. If they sell you White Widow, when you grow, it's gonna be White Widow. They sell you California Sunshine, when it grows from a reputable dealer, it's gonna be just what they said. They tried to
good.
tell me this stuff could be too strong. It was called Gorilla Glue Extreme. I said,
Mhm.
oh yeah, okay. Now how strong could this be, right? So I buy it and grow it. Say I could one blunt, my men got stuck. We at work, they can't even get out the truck. I'm hollering, hey, get out the truck. They could, hey, listen, I could say to myself, I'm gonna do these 5 things right here, right now. Smoke that gorilla and could not get out my seat. I'd have to wait about an hour for it to wear off to realize, oh Lord, it is. They right. So guess what? I didn't buy that no more. I don't, you know, hey, you had people who normally like opium-based products, Xanaxes and what, they were coming over there asking, say, you got any more of that?
Mhm.
Because it was so strong. So now you
So
gotta,
these people that like the downers.
yes, they would
Yeah.
love Gorilla Glue Extreme. But now I've learned to buy something and grow that you can work with. All right.
Yeah.
They're real. It gives you a euphoria. You kind of look at me, you see, I'm kind of happy now. I'm not sitting here.
Nodding off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm happy now, kind of, think so. It's based on what you buy. Yeah. You're gonna
Uh,
grow what you buy. And your seeds are very important. All right, that's it.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time today. I also want to emphasize that lighting this is the same process that you could use for any other crop as well. And I'm sure that the height of the light is, something that we could talk about at another time.
Mhm.
Maybe a workshop or something, a virtual workshop. Try to get out there to Mr. Keith's place and then we'll be talking here shortly. I'll schedule some time for our next builder that we'll be talking to about other simplistic spaces. So we'll get a little bit more into the visual of what Mr. Keith has going on and future time here. But I'll be back shortly. Darcia Houston with Dallas Ag Women. Mr. Keith, thank you for your time. And yes, go ahead. Bye-bye. Oh, and you have to end
Robert,
your, huh? You froze.
Robert Bergman, am I there now?
Yep,
You
yep, you're
froze.
here.
Robert Bergman, ILGM, is a site. Somebody asked where you can buy seeds.
Oh, okay.
ILGM, Robert Bergman, or Crop King Seeds. All right. ILGM, Crop King.
Okay, he ended. Have a good day.
Bye, yeah. Huh?
Okay, you're back.
No, I'm back. No, I'm gone. Bye. No, I'm gone. I gotta go.
You gotta end the
Oh,
stream. You
exit,
gotta
exit.
hit
Okay, I
end.
got it. All right, I hear you.